how 500 subscribers has completely changed my life within 6 months. We're going to talk the challenges that come with it, the unintended benefits, and everything else in between today. So try and follow along for the entirety of this video to ensure that you can absolutely maximize what you get from this video. And that pertains to you if you're just a general footy lover, an aspiring YouTuber. This video doesn't discriminate, so let's get into it. Before getting to where I am right now with Pies Footy, there's a reason why I found myself on the, precipice of endeavoring in a pursuit that is YouTube right now. And we have to go quite a way back to get to where we are right now. If we go back, I'm 26 right now. If we go back to when I was 12 years old, I endeavored to become a professional soccer player. That's all I cared about. It's all I ever wanted to become. And anything else in between did not matter to me. I pursued that up until I was 20, 21. I ended up somewhat playing professionally at a club called Melbourne City. I played for their youth team or the reserve team. For the footy lovers, it's equivalent to maybe a VFL side. So I was fortunate to be given an opportunity there. There were some harsh lessons learned as a young kid who was arrogant, maybe a bit of delusion was a part of that process, a lack of wisdom. And ultimately, I fell out of love with the game through those experiences. And that feeling of being deterred from what you thought you wanted to do and be your entire life was an identity. It became an identity crisis for me because it was me and soccer. And those two words were synonymous with each other. So it's all I ever wanted to be. And then when I realized, oh shit, this isn't what it was all said to made out to be, it was really a tough learning curve. And the reason I say that is because that was my identity. And then the next 6 years that would follow along from age 20 to 26 where I am now. There was a lot of throwing wet toilet paper up to the ceiling and waiting to see if it would stick. So there were things like playing Aussie rules. I gave that a shot, having some history as a junior, played that, tried to take that a bit more serious, not to the level of where I was playing soccer, that's for sure. But unfortunately, after my first year, winning a flag, fortunately, with my brother, that was something I hold very dearly to me to this day. I had to have foot surgery, unfortunately, and that recovery took much longer than it needed to after the surgery. What was supposed to be a 6 to 12 month recovery timeline ended up being, I could argue it took 2 to 3 years. And it was just a lack of, wisdom and awareness of my body. So that's another thing I learned across this journey getting to where we are today. Learning about your body is very important, and you've got to ensure that you find the right people, the right resources at the right time to ensure you get through these times properly. It's very difficult, but that's a story for another day. So we tried footy, we've tried soccer. I'm still young in my 20s. I've tried a couple other YouTube channels that didn't quite work well. Personal development, which is, in retrospect, it's ironic because who's going to listen to a 21, 22, 23-year-old on YouTube talking about personal development when you have no life experience? I say that respectfully. So that was interesting, but it also became a bit of a journal for me at that time, which was healing in a sense. And then really from 23 to 26, or the start of this year, I sort of just knuckled down on my full-time job, working in the disability sector. Obviously, in the office, looking for supports for my clients with disabilities is essentially what my role is without disclosing what the title is and where I work. But that was pretty much my main focal point. And when I get home from work, there was a feeling of there's something missing. And I have this conversation with people from all different walks of life, young, old, family, friends. And I just said, when I get home, I go to the gym, I've done my work, I'm eating dinner, and something's still missing. And you can ask anyone, that conversation happened a lot because something didn't feel right. I felt like my purpose has not faced me yet. Like, it hasn't stared me in the eye and said, hey, this is what you need to do for the rest of your life. This is your constitution to this planet. And then going back to last year, pre-season, AFL pre-season, for those who aren't familiar to the niche, I do support the Collingwood Football Club. They're an Australian football team, and their pre-season, off-seasons from October through to maybe November, and then finishes at around March and goes into the full season. But late into the pre-season last year, I really strongly considered starting an AFL YouTube endeavour. I didn't do that. Procrastination was a big problem, or really hindered the initiation or the genesis of Pies Footy. But we get to February this year, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to grab the lowest hanging fruit, content creation wise, and I'm going to take a camera, this old camera, and go to Collingwood's training and record them doing drills, doing match simulation. I'm just going to put it on YouTube. Why? Because I just felt like Collingwood fans, AFL fans, I'm sure other sports fans from different parts of the world can resonate. There was just a lackluster amount of content and insight. So I was like, you know what? People want to see what's going on in the preseason for Collingwood, who's training well. And I said, I'm just going to record you guys. I didn't tell them I was going to record them. I just rocked up to the training ground and started recording them. And it was well received. People really enjoyed that. I was like, okay, Collingwood are playing Richmond in the pre-season game. Let me do a match preview on that. And then it sort of just built from there, and you start to find that identity, that purpose. You keep pumping out content, and people are resonating with you, and you start to see frequent faces in the comment section encouraging you to keep doing what you're doing, and just like reciprocating that the content you're putting out with the, I guess, acumen of footy that I have when it comes to understanding the game and my love for the game, which is the most important thing. They felt that. And it got to a point, 2-3 months into the track, we hit the 500 subscriber mark. And I say 500 subscribers at the start of the video and in the title of this video is because it's all you need for a community. And life is all about community. That's what I've learned up until this point in my life. Everything else is second best before your community. And when you start to remember names, know their story a bit more, and I guess a string to the Pies Footy bow is live streams, which I do quite a few of them with one of my best mates, Caleb. And he's obviously taken a liking to the content. I've brought him into a world that maybe he thought he'd never be a part of, and he's found his own desires, and he endeavours to start his own channel. So that's a byproduct of bringing your closest people with you into the game, if they choose to, and see a completely different world. So then we do the live streams, and that's just became another level of intimacy with the fans, the viewers, the supporters. We'd know their names, we'd know their stories. We do fan cams after games, and we let people vent. It's a therapy session. The game on the weekend was a horrible outcome for the Collingwood Football Club, but we come together after the game. And you know how it is, generally speaking, with sports media. After games, coaches, players, they're not going to tell you how they truly feel because they have to protect themselves. That's the reality. Whereas we at Pies Footy remain impartial to the club. So whether our opinion is good, positive, not politically correct, or whatever it may be, we're allowed to say it. And that's the point of difference with this content. We can get an angry bloke who loves the Collingwood Football Club. His name could be Manny. He could be a 40-year supporter from South Australia. He comes on and he tears the club to shreds. Fine. If that's the way you want to vent and articulate your concerns with the club, I love that. If you want to come in and defend the players, defend the coach, etc., totally fine. There's many roads that lead to Rome, and that's what I love about that, I guess, fan cam element to the channel. And I'll be honest with you guys, when it comes to the challenges are much the same with what you have to deal with in your day-to-day life, particularly with work. There's time management. That becomes a massive issue because what we're doing here takes a lot of time. From, I suppose, video documentaries to match previews, match reviews, live stream shows, Pies Eyes podcast that we do, they all take time. Ideas, filming, recording, posting. There's a lot of things that go into the frameworks that go into putting out the content. So time management is a massive thing. And there's an element of, like I said, ensuring that you get your times right. Okay, can I block out this evening during the weekday, and then Saturday morning, Sunday morning, I get up early and pump out content? That's one way to go about it. But one thing that is unintended and sort of helps you along the way is when you become more proficient and understanding of what content you are creating, it will become much easier. You end up being able to waffle and tell stories to the camera, to you guys, without needing a script. That's what I've found. Learning more about the game, about the club, about the history, and just constantly showing up every day, looking at this thing while there's a big fucking bright light shooting in my eyes that gives me headaches. It eventually saves you time on its own. That factor alone will save you time. And then, like I said, there's picking the right evenings, picking the right times, the right days, etc., etc. So that's obviously one challenge within itself, time management, and there's different, pillars to it. Doubt, self-doubt, hey, it exists in this world as well. You post content, people in the comment section may disagree with you. That's okay. I'm quite, immune to it, I feel, at this point in my life. But I know there's people who will come into this world and really struggle with that, and that's fine. Just be wary that there might be, let's say, 1,000 people like your video, right? They watch the video. 995 people will watch the video and they love it, but they won't necessarily comment anything. The 5 other people, however, dislike the video. And guess what? They're going to rip you to shreds in that comment section. And that's okay. It's like reviews, generally speaking, that I find. Google reviews. You're going to see more negative reviews than positive reviews about certain things. Nobody wants to praise as much as they want to bring down or provide constructive or negative feedback to the service or support that may be. So just keep that in mind. That is a big thing that still exists in this game of YouTube. And if you're not ready for it, then do I say this place is not for you? No, I say come in with an open mind, deal with those adversities and learn how to overcome them and allow them to not affect you like you think they will. The other big issue, which I did not foresee having to deal with, is the addiction to the numbers of this fucking thing. YouTube Studio. It's basically my Instagram in a sense that every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes every 10 minutes, I'm not even kidding, throughout the day, depending on what content I've posted, I'm scrolling through the analytic app, YouTube Studio, checking the views per 60 minutes, any new comments, how many views has this video got, has this video been censored and will it get ad revenue? Like these things I'm constantly checking. Oh, my subscriber count, it's gone up, cool. Like that is a very sickening, element to this game if you get caught up in it. And I've spoken to other YouTubers and they seem to struggle with the same thing. And it's just a dopamine dump, isn't it? Like you're literally going on that app to get a dopamine dump, to see the viewer count that you want to see the subscriber count that you want to see. So I am still working on it. I've sort of accepted at the same time that I do need to be looking at these numbers to ensure that I'm doing the best for this channel, but it is something that I didn't expect. And me being not someone who is big on social media, before Pies Footy, I wasn't on Instagram, I wasn't on TikTok, I don't use Facebook, I just use Messenger. So I've had to add Instagram and TikTok sparingly into this realm. And yeah, I guess the biggest social media dopamine dump that I'm using right now is the YouTube Studio, of all things. So that's been a challenge within itself. Still managing it, not the worst thing, as I still need to reflect upon those numbers that reside in that app. So here we are at the present day. We're nearly at 2,000 subscribers. We have a massive community, and I'm really excited for what the future holds. But guys, just hold on. I do want to quickly mention some byproducts of what you get from content creation. One of the obvious things is obviously becoming more articulate, concise, succinct with your speech, your thought. If you want to work on that and be cognizant of that, you will get better at that. There are people who talk to the camera every day and are still horrible with their use of their speech, interpretations of things, and how they deliver things. That's because they're probably not, I guess, reviewing their content and re-watching their videos. And I don't blame you guys. Re-watching your videos, I struggle to re-watch my videos from 4 weeks ago. It's that cringe. I don't know if anyone else there can resonate. I just can't watch videos back after like the 2-3 week mark because I just cringe at what I'm saying, what I'm doing, which is a good sign. It means I'm improving in many ways. But as I was saying, you're only going to get better with your articulation and delivery of what you're trying to articulate is if you work on it and reflect upon what you're posting and what you're saying in these videos. It just doesn't happen naturally, unfortunately. The next thing is you become more imaginative. You think about what content you create. And you know what you also realize, what I've realized? I'm more creative than I first thought I would. I definitely undersold how creative I can be when it comes to how I make my video documentaries, topics I talk about. It really blew me away. And that's probably one of the first times where I've sort of just caught myself out and be like, hey, like, you're better than, like, you're smarter, like, you're more creative than what you think you are, which was, I like to think that I'm pretty self-aware and realistic of where I stand, but that one caught me by surprise. The next unintended benefit would be learning to speak to different people from different walks of life, young, old, male, female. Obviously the live streams is one of those ones where we're constantly, I guess, having a back and forth conversation and learning how to deal with people in different ways. That's definitely been something that is conducive to my regular life. And that's what YouTube is. Like, a lot of these things that you do on YouTube will definitely transfer into what you do in your regular life. So really consider that if you have a story that you feel like you'd like to tell. And I guarantee you, if you're watching this video, you have a story to tell personally, and there's a skill that you should and could be sharing with us on YouTube. And don't let procrastination or fear of learning how to do certain things. And further to the unintended benefits that I mentioned just before in articulation and learning to speak to other people, to talk to this point, with cameras, editing, thumbnails, all that sort of stuff, you learn it along the way. So be patient with yourself when you go down this pathway, but don't let that stop you or scare you from creating your own community and your own channel and your own story. It's your own journal. So really think strongly about that when you're getting into this. Just press record. And those are some of those unintended benefits. And where do I see Pies Footy going in the near future? Hey, does it make me a little bit of money on the side? Sure, it's I guess, chump change at this point. I do hope and predict that it will be more than that. It will be a full-time endeavor at some point. But it is just a couple $100, if that, a week at the moment, which is cool, but it's definitely not like the hourly rate, if you break that down, is obviously not worth it. But the thing that keeps me going and forces me to turn on the camera and show up every day is you guys watching this video, the community. That's what keeps me going, and that's all I need. Money will come and go, but this is something that gives me drive every single day, and I thank you guys for that. And that's what I want to conclude. And that's what I want to conclude this video on, is just thanking you guys, because without you guys, I wouldn't have something to do on a Sunday morning or a Sunday evening where you get the Monday blues are coming. Saturday morning, I can attack the day well, being productive first thing in the morning. In the evening, when I've got nothing to do, you guys give me something to do. Thank you. Go Pies.